We are now on to target C. Target 6C, apply theorems, postulates, or definitions to find missing values. Okay, so looking at what we're actually looking at. 6C.1, I can solve proportions by cross-multiplying and then using the rules of linear equations. Okay, so really what we're doing here is we are going to solve equations. Proportions. Okay, our first vocab. Proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. Okay. Again, one thing to remember, if you look at this with probability, a ratio is a fraction of some sort. Okay, something over something else. So it's an equation that states two fractions that are equal. Okay. The general form of proportion is something over something else, so A over B equals another number over another number, C over D. A and D are called the extremes, B and C are called the means. Okay? And we say the cross-product property, which is how we solve proportions, we say the product of the extremes is equal to the product of the means. Okay? I may also refer to this cross-product property as the butterfly method, and I will show why when we show an example. Okay? So, let's look at an example. Okay? So I'm multiplying my extremes together. So I circle what I'm multiplying together. 2 times 9. And then multiply my means together. And if you look, it creates this beautiful little butterfly, which is why it might also be called the butterfly method. Okay, so you're just multiplying kind of in a diagonal. So 2 times 9 equals 3 times x. Well, 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times x is 3x. Solving for x, all I'm going to do is divide by 3. 18 divided by 3, you can always use a calculator. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Okay? So easy enough. As soon as you multiply, you're just solving an equation. Let's look at number 2. Same thing. I have 6 times 5. 7 times 2x, or 2x times 7, either way. So that's 30 equals 2x times 7 is 14x, right? Multiplying those numbers. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 14. Right, 14 divided by 14 is 1. I'm left with 1x. 30 over 14, again, you can always use a calculator. That gives you 15 over 7. So x equals 15 sevenths. All right, looking at example 3. Example 3 gets a little bit different. You see I have this plus sign. One rule, anytime we have a plus sign, I'm going to put parentheses around it, okay? Or a subtraction. Okay? Anytime you see plus or minus, put parentheses. That's going to be one of our rules. Okay, so anytime I see plus or minus, I'm going to put parentheses. So I'm doing the same thing then. Right? So I have x plus 4 times 3 equals 12 times 2. Okay? The reason I have to put parentheses is because I have to remember to distribute that 3 to both of those things. Okay, so I really have 3x plus 12 equals 12 times 2 is 24. Okay. So now I need to subtract 12 from both sides. All right, remember solving linear equations, variables on one side, everything else on the other. So 3x equals 24 minus 12 is 12. And I'm going to divide by 3. Right? 3 3 divided by 3 is just 1x, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. And so I get x equals 4. Looking at example 4. Okay, this is another one with a plus sign, so I need to add those parentheses. And then regular cross multiplying. So I have 5 times, again in parentheses, 2x plus 6 equals x times 8. So I'm going to start by distributing. So I have 10x plus 5 times 6 is 30 equals x times 8 is 8x. So now remember for this, anytime I have a variable on both sides, I want all my x's on one side. I don't know why I'm subtracting 2x, subtract 8x. So 2x plus 30 equals 0. And then I need to get my constant to the other side. Divide both sides by 2. Negative 30 divided by 2 is negative 15. Alright, our last, I just hit escape and it didn't do it. Alright, our last example is, again, it takes another step where we're going to see a little bit something different, a little bit more complicated again. Still going to put those parentheses in. So I have 4 times 5. I have x minus 1 times x. 4 times 5 is 20. Distribute. X times x, remember, is x squared. X times negative 1 is minus 1x. Okay. Now, here I have a quadratic. In order to solve this, we're going to look back at our factoring. So in order to factor, I need to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. So I have 0 equals x squared minus 1x minus 20. In order to factor, I need to, I want to look at what adds to your middle number, remember. So I'm adding to negative 1 and multiply to your last number, negative 20. Okay? So I'm going to create that box. We did this a lot in second semester. So again, I know my first number is x squared. I know my last number is negative 20. I need to see how I'm going to split up that negative 1. What multiplies to be negative 20? I think of 5 and 4. But then one of them has to be negative, right? A positive times a positive will give me a positive. So I'm going to put that 5 with a negative. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. That works. So now I'm filling in the outside. X squared is x times x. X times positive 4. X times negative 5. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20. Okay? And then remember, our last step in solving is I have x plus 4 equals 0. And I have x minus 5 equals 0. Going to subtract 4 from both sides. X equals negative 4. And I'm going to add 5, always doing the opposite. So x equals 5. Okay. And there's my answer. All right. Go ahead, start working on your C1 activity.